Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. We are back at it for episode 28. Dexter, Henry, Brian Fonseca here.
Sir.
What's up, B?
The Curtis Martin episode, as we just mentioned.
The Curtis Martin episode. Now, I'm always happy with the Curtis Martin episode, number 28, and great running back for the Jets, team I root for, sadly, and also out of my alma mater, University of Pittsburgh.
Yes.
So I like the number 28. I like Curtis Martin reference with 28.
I thought you were gonna mention that there was a better 28 somewhere. That's why I went with Curtis Martin episode, because I feel like we could both agree.
A better 28
as a kid,
in sports?
As a kid, Curtis Martin was actually one of the first football jerseys that I had as a kid. True story. Keyshawn Johnson was, I think, first, and then Curtis Martin after
My
that.
first football jersey was actually a Brett Favre jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Interesting. Oh, wait, no, I'm lying, because there's a picture of me somewhere. There's a picture of me somewhere. My dad, my mom has this because she keeps all the old pictures because, mothers do that. And there's a picture of me somewhere in Puerto Rico, and I have a Steve Young jersey. That's a true story.
That's dope.
It's a baggy Steve Young jersey. I was like 3. What's up, Matt?
3 years old. What's up, man? How you doing? Do you have any jerseys that you had when you were young?
Take note.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to get into that later.
Yeah,
hold on. He got the Utah Jazz hoodie.
Can you guys guess what my first ever jersey would be?
John Stockton.
No. Football jersey. I don't like football, for those listening and watching.
Football jersey?
Yeah, Think of the time period when I was like...
You were born in 97?
Yeah, but think of the time period of me like
people probably watching or listening.
Did he test Verdi?
No.
Jets jersey?
Yeah, it was a quarterback. It was a quarterback.
Chad Pennington?
Chad Pennington. It's a Chad Pennington jersey.
That is so mad.
Yeah, that is so me. Yeah. And I don't even follow football, but I know all the quarterbacks.
You had a Chad Pennington.
Yeah. You like those 80% accurate short 6-yard passes?
Oh, yeah. Those are great.
Yeah. Your enthusiasm was about as much as I had for that.
I just never liked football, but Chad Pennington, I still have the jersey.
Did you like Chad Pennington?
I like Chad Pennington. He was decent. I knew he wasn't going to lead us anywhere because he couldn't throw the ball further than 6 yards.
That's the second or third best quarterback that franchise has ever
had. That is sad. I'm going to leave. That's not saying a lot. That's not good. That's not saying good.
I would love for him to come up here and talk about that.
I'd love to.
I have some questions for Chad Pennington.
I got a lot of questions for Chad Pennington. We could talk about 2004 AFC Championship game against the Steelers, where I was standing on the sidelines for that. We know what Doug Bryan did. We know how Herm Edwards botched that game. I'm not going to get into that. It doesn't hurt me. I'm not hurt by this.
And one last thing before we actually get into the podcast. NFL 2K5. Terrell Owens on the cover, right?
Wait, what?
So hold on.
You know, like every NBA Live, NFL. Seriously, guys, Brian knows every music that's been played in every 2K or NBA Live or any obscure game. This guy knows it.
Before we started, I was playing E=MC², and then I was like, wait, this was in 2K8 or 9. I don't remember the 2K.
Who remembers this?
Jay Dilla and Common.
Oh, God.
But anyway.
Shout out.
What's it called? So, NFL 2K5, I remember, and I was actually using the Jets that year because I remember them being pretty good. I think they made the playoffs. 04?
They did?
They made the playoffs?
Yes, I was at this championship game.
He's very heard about it.
Okay, so they made the playoffs, and I remember trading Chad Pennington and a draft pick for Michael Vick. And that was the year that was when Michael Vick was like,
God, the computer was stupid to do that.
Because Michael Vick had like a 90 overall.
Why?
And I think Chad Pennington had like an 87.
Why would the Falcons GM in that computer, why would the computer even accept that?
Because it's just video games.
Video games.
At the time, man.
Video game logic.
I'm glad the logic is a lot smarter today in video games.
Oh, it's so hard. But I made a great trade in the show last night.
What?
I told you about that. I traded Matt Harvey.
You're going to piss off some Mets fans.
AJ Ramos. And some prospect.
I'm not mad about any of those. Okay.
For the closer from the Tampa Bay Rays, whose name is escaping me right now, because I needed a setup man for Familia. AJ Ramos is my worst bullpen guy.
You don't want Brian to be your GM because he will forget your name after the deal is done.
100%.
You do not want him to be your GM.
We'll sell you out.
Forget your name, but you like the trade. We're talking about fictional trades. I told you
Matt Harvey was gone as soon as I got that game because of that Trump photo. I was like,
to be fair, he texted me as soon as he saw the roster and he was like, "Yo, Matt Harvey's a 68." He was like, "What?"
Me and Dexter were on the phone. I was like, "Yo, Zach Wheeler's a 61."
I looked at Brian. I'm like, "Yo, you might want to step up your player development though. Why can't you develop these players into being better?"
I got not Cespedes. That's the obvious one. Who's somebody I really developed? I'm trying to think.
Why couldn't you develop
Todd Frazier's the MVP candidate.
That's
all right.
That's not gonna happen.
Let's roll into the topic.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, we said hi to everybody. We talked about some obscure stuff.
Yeah,
that was interesting.
My kind of stuff.
Today is we talked about 28. Today, as we were recording this podcast, it is also the 24th anniversary of the greatest hip hop album of all time, Illmatic.
Yes, sir.
Also, it's the 24th anniversary of the single. Ain't Hard to Tell, which is the name of this podcast.
And we got this working again if you're watching.
Yeah, look, it's beautiful.
The reel is back.
Yes. It's great.
The background is back. But speaking of hip hop and a good day in hip hop tomorrow, when we recording on the 19th, but tomorrow Friday, April 20th, which
tonight,
is
really
tonight, but April 20th, which is a day that makes a certain kind of people happy.
Yeah. No judgment
in different ways.
Not at all.
In that, you do
Have
what
fun.
you do.
Be safe.
But I'm excited for 420 for a completely different reason, and it's because J.Cole will be back with a new album, KOD.
Yes. Sooner than expected.
Although I swear this is a true story. On Sunday, I was working at News 12, and I was with a coworker.
Shout out News 12.
Oh, come on! Don't even say it. Don't even say it.
For those of you who don't
Shout
know.
out News 12.
Anyway, I was working there, and one of our freelancers who works there as a shooter talking to me, he's a J. Cole fan, and he showed me that J. Cole had just done this promo for the NBA in which he had, they've been using his Rise and Shine beat off of Sideline Stories album.
Yes.
But he did this promo where he rapped over this beat, and I was like, oh, it's pretty dope. So I watched how he put the video together. I really liked it. I thought it was dope. And I said, yo, J. Cole's been killing features lately, and we've spoken about
American Dream, Pablo Bo.
There's
one more.
There's one on Kaz's album.
Okay.
Zaynada, I can't remember the name of the song.
Yeah, but he's been
killing these features. Yeah. And I said, yo, I think he's coming out with some heat soon. Boy, little did I know how soon it would be. Yeah. Less than 24 hours, I got the tweet alert from J. Cole for people in New York, this mattered, who were listening to the podcast, to go to the Gramercy Theater, 6 p.m. He was having this show. I really could have went. And
this was at, 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
No, it was at 4. He tweeted actually at 4:20.
Oh, it was after I left.
It was actually tweeted at 4:20.
Right.
And I could have been there probably in 20, 25 minutes. I've seen another show there. I saw Primo and Royce there a couple years ago. So I know it's a very small venue.
Yeah.
Probably only could hold about 300 people.
Yeah.
And I would have went, but I had a lot of work that I had to finish doing, so I couldn't go. That's what happens when you're an adult and you have some responsibilities. Couldn't go, but I was excited. And here's why I'm excited. And Brian, we're going to get into this. I've loved how J. Cole has rolled out his albums, the last 3 albums.
Yeah.
I've loved it. I love that there's no build-up of promotional tours and talking about the album and going everywhere or releasing a single or anything like that. Just Monday, album's coming Friday, and I love it.
That's
I love it. I love it
because you're also, you came up, growing up. Your era, there were long rollouts. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where a single will come out.
2 singles sometimes.
Single will come out like 6 months ahead, and then the next one will drop like months after, and then the third one right before the album drops.
I hate that.
You know what I mean? Like, I would figure that maybe that's something you would be accustomed to, but you've really accepted the fact that, hey, now people just come out with albums.
Because we consume so many other things that are direct consuming. We binge watch shows on Netflix. We don't ask, I think people actually want things more that are direct to them. You know what I mean? And I think that only makes sense with music, especially in the streaming age. Why are we still doing the rollouts of, hey, here's my single, let's hope it gets radio play. Hey, here's my second single, hope it catches on. Why do that in the age of streaming? Why not just give me the album? I actually love hearing albums. I don't even really like listening to singles before albums. I try to avoid doing it. I limit myself to one. I never listen to multiple singles
because you hear it differently. You'll hear it within the structure of the album. You were doing this when Prime was like doing its little rollout, and you'll be like, "No, I'm not listening to that yet." Same thing with Joey Badass last year when I sent you "Rockabye Baby." You were like, "No, I'm not listening to it until the album."
You know, I'm consistent.
And I told you I'm gonna start doing that also.
Yeah, I don't, because I can hear the single. I can sit with that single to the album. I'm fine with one song, sitting to it, and then I want to hear how everything else flows in the album. I loved how J. Cole's rolled out his last couple albums. I loved even Kendrick only had a week or 2 before Damn dropped.
The pre-order dropped, and then 1 week later it was like
right, and I was fine with that. Although I would love it if everybody just dropped out of the blue. I loved how Beyonce's dropped her last couple albums out of the blue. Jay's album 444, I loved how that dropped. You didn't hear any songs from it until it came out.
Now, do you think that's just a product of, because look at the names you're mentioning, J. Cole,
some big
Kendrick.
names that can.
Could somebody, not obscure, but could somebody else not that stature could do that? somebody else do that.
Yeah, because
I'm trying to think of a name.
I'm not 100% sure, but what I'm questioning is, does it matter? What's the difference if you like? How many more people are you getting to listen to your album that you didn't? If you do this,
right?
That's the question, the fundamental question I'm asking. Like,
right.
So I hear what you're saying, but here's the question.
No, I'm asking.
You're asking. Well, you're asking.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, if you look at J. Cole before Forest Hills Drives, when he dropped that album, and he just kind of brought that out the blue, I think 2 weeks before, and said, "Hey, December 9th, this is dropping." Mm-hmm. At that point, J. Cole, his albums were successful, Sideline Story successful, Born Sinner kind of successful, but it's still, you would have said, he's not on that Jay Beyonce level, and he did it, right? Kendrick kind of did it with To Pimp a Butterfly too, and he just had really one successful major commercial album. So these dudes took the risk. I don't even know if I want to call it a risk. I think they just did what makes sense.
I feel like now in the social media era, you can kind of get away with that too, because granted our attention spans are shorter, but you can kind of just come out and put out the album, excuse me, because look at the reaction that it gets as soon as like J. Cole announces he's dropping an album, that everybody goes crazy. It's not like he puts out the album and then you kind of forget that it came out because it's J. Cole. I think that, I don't know, if a lesser artist did that, I don't want to like diss anybody, but
I think there's artists that still do it that have,
I'm trying to think of a name, but I'm also trying to hold back. Like, if person X would have dropped, let me check my Spotify.
You're gonna offend somebody. I'm like, no, let's take your guy.
We're staying away
Does
from
Freddie
that
Gibbs need to do this? No, I'm not the biggest Freddie Gibbs fan.
And you know what?
But I'm saying that why does he need to do it?
Not to indulge in this shit, but no, I just cursed. Whatever. But
he tried to like
keep going.
It's
fine.
Well, whatever. With Freddie Gibbs though, he's actually said whenever he drops Bandana with Madlib, the follow up to Pinata, that they're just gonna come out of the blue.
Good, I love that.
He's like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna drop it.
Good, I love it.
You know what I mean?
Good.
Like, and before, when Pinata was coming out, actually, this is a good example, because when Pinata was coming out, there were 3 singles. One in like 2011, 2012, and then 2013. And then 2014, they dropped the album. But all those singles were part of EPs that were old school EPs where it was like 6 tracks, 2 were actual songs, the rest of it kind of remixes and instrumentals.
Right.
So it was different.
I remember you showed me that,
I
right.
felt like they started making music together, and then at some point they were just like, yo, we have enough songs, why don't we just put it together and make an album?
But see,
and then now they're like, you know what, let's change our approach. Let's just hit them out of the blue since the first one was successful. You know what I mean? So I kind of like it too.
I understand the feeling process to that, but I think for artists, even of a stature like a Freddie Gibbs or the people, I just don't see the need for this big rollout process.
Yeah.
I would have loved if we had asked somebody like Sky Zoo when he was up there about that. Actually, J. Cole, while we're doing this, just put out a tweet. Which I was actually
live coverage.
I was actually about to get into the meaning of this.
Oh yeah, right.
He just tweeted KOD, 3 meanings, kids on drugs, King overdose. KOD is the name of the album that was announced on Monday.
Yeah.
For those people, 3 meanings, which I had already known about this: kids on drugs, King overdose, kill our demons. He said the rest of the album I leave to your interpretation. Now, somebody.
Do you like that? First of all, do you like that artists kind of leave things to? Because Vince Staples said the same thing before Big Fish Theory came out, and you could take that like one of many different ways.
I like that. I'm very big on that. I like open endings sometimes in movies. I like thinking about things and the depth to it. Somebody I'm going to read this before we can get to, because I want to hear maybe this is kind of what excites me. The thing I'm excited about is not just the albums coming about, but what appears to be the meaning and the subject matter. And first of all, in taking that meaning is the dope album cover art. Yeah. All of us like it here. I like it. I think it's really dope.
Yeah.
You said you liked it. It was dope.
When
I texted you about it, and we only talked to Matt about it today, and Matt was like, "Yo, it's dope."
Hands down, one of the best album covers I've seen this year so far.
Do you like J. Cole? Do you listen to J. Cole?
I've heard a couple of his songs, but
he's no MF Doom, right?
No, he's not MF Doom. Yo, look at Czarface MF Doom mashup. Came out like around March 30th. Really check that out.
I think I need some coffee because the mention of MF Doom made me fall asleep.
Rap, come on, Dex. Rap snitches get knishes.
Oh my god!
oh, one of the great bars of all time.
All right, better than Madeline.
Take shots. I'm not getting into that. But we all like the album art. To describe the album art, we'll try to put it up for people to do.
You also like I think we all like this.
The album art is
12 tracks.
Yes.
And no real features.
I love it.
You know.
Yes, the 2 features on there are supposed to be like a
His alter
alias,
ego.
alter ego
So it's like
for
T.I.
J.
and
Cole.
T.I.
That's cool. That's real cool.
Well, that's also a horrible name for an album. One of the horrible names for the album. The other is another one recently I've mentioned, Dex Meets Dexter by Famous Dex.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But
Come on,
you saying it though, it's just hilarious.
Also, because like, who would ever think that was smart? Would I ever say, "Hey, I'm Dex, now meet Dexter"? No, it's stupid. It's absolutely stupid.
Maybe it's.
It's not that deep. Trust me, I doubt it's that deep. I'm sorry.
It's kind of like my beef with Louis Fonsi.
He just took
because his name is almost my dad's name and almost my name, kind of.
I don't like it.
Me neither.
Yeah. I can see why.
No, it's not good.
All right, so in terms
And
of
that song is awful.
In terms of the meaning, the J. Cole Bible, which was an Instagram account I didn't know existed until Monday, because friend of the program, Gregory Alcala, sent it to me, some stuff from there. And they wrote a description on what the meaning of the album is that J. Cole said at his free event in New York City this past Monday. Cole also did a free event in London the next day, which is crazy in itself. They flew right immediately after. And did one in London.
Yeah.
So the first meeting, Kids on Drugs. J. Cole gave an example of how if you were to turn on the TV every 7 minutes, you see a commercial that advertises the use of drugs. Cole mentioned the use of recreation drugs, such as pills, weed, alcohol, and also mentioned our addictions like sex, money, love, and technology. How kids these days grow up on some sort of addiction. Pretty interesting to me, right?
Yeah.
Next, King Overdose, in which Cole states this as being himself in the album. He personifies the character King Overdose by exploring the different ways individuals overdose on the drugs he mentioned, all the while thinking and feeling as if you were a king. It's interesting considering how there's a glorification of drug culture within rap.
Yeah.
Last, Kill Our Demons is the hope that people who suffer from problems such as addictions will eventually overcome their demons and their addictions. Kill Our Demons is the place that Cole hopes everyone can reach and that everyone can find peace, and by doing that, you would have successfully killed your demons and find peace within yourself. What do you think about these concepts, Brian Fonseca?
I think that in some ways, and we just talked about this, American Dream, Bob Boat, his verses on there, they're kind of going to serve as preludes to whatever this album is going to be, like based off of that. That's what it sounds like.
I've thought about that recently.
Because it's like when we heard those verses, we were like, oh, J. Cole's back. You know what I mean? In terms of like, I mean, his last album, you know, it wasn't great. And
I like it better than people. I think it's. We'll get into that another time.
Yeah, like I'm not saying it's bad by any means, but
it wasn't great. I agree. I'm fine.
But like you know, Nas also put out Nostradamus. You know what I'm saying? Like
Nostradamus, it's not, but I understand the point.
Yeah, Nostradamus doesn't exist. But anyway,
not my world.
but yeah, I think those 2 verses are kind of like okay, we see where J. Cole's going. You know what I mean? And the other one that you mentioned, what was it? The other J. Cole verse that you mentioned, his other feature. Was it with Kaz?
Kaz, yes.
Yeah. So, like, he's had these feature spots really good. He's kind of getting back to, you know, some of the content that he was doing before, but just better. Because, like, his last album, like, he had Neighbors and songs like that, but it didn't quite hit. And this is where some people started to say, oh, J. Cole's boring, whatever the case may be, which I disagree with. But I think that he legitimately is going to really put out an Album of the Year candidate this time.
I hope you're right.
I don't know if it's fair to expect, because you know you don't want to do this, but it's like certain things you just expect to be so good. We were talking about this recently, where we expect Royce the 5'9". He's got speaking of upcoming albums, Book of Ryan's supposed to come out in May. A little too soon, if you ask me, because Prime 2 just dropped out, and I just want to enjoy that a little bit more.
I happen to agree,
but we're expecting, based off everything he's been saying, that to be his best album. Like, this is the album. He said things like, this is the album I should have first came out with. This is the most introspective I've been. And you kind of see that in the content now, where he's getting a little more introspective, even on Prime 2 and in Layers.
Yes.
And now with J. Cole, I feel like it's going to be kind of similar. I'm kind of expecting his best project.
No, I hope so.
Especially content-wise, because Forest Hills Drive is great, but there's also some songs where it's like...
It's a little weak at the end, but I think Forest Hills Drive is his best project, his most complete project. I know a lot of Cole fans have an affinity for Friday Night Lights, the mixtape, which I think is very good. But I
love the warm-up.
I do too. I just don't think those projects are as tight as like Forest Hills Drive is. I think people might like a lot of these songs and how it feels and I get that. Nostalgia. But you brought up a good point about his recent guest verses, and how you think that ties into what was the word you said? I don't want to say the precursor for the album,
like a prelude. Yeah,
and you know, maybe I was thinking about this line because I love the Bob Boat verse, and I was thinking about a line that he said in there, or some bars he said in there. We had no Bible boat, but I could note those times just like a Bible quote. BC before cell phones, the first time I would smoke. I was 6 years old, but that's for another chapter. That's for another story. To God be the glory. Yeah. And now it's like, obviously, he's going to be talking about drugs and stuff. And now I didn't think about that. That's for another chapter, for another story. Maybe he's talking about this album that's coming up right now. And so if he gets into some personal stuff like, why was he the first time he was smoking at 6 years old? That's crazy in itself. Because when I heard that line, I was like, damn, okay, I want to hear more about that. I think somebody from rap, in a way, speaking on the drug culture that's over glorified in hip hop culture right now, I think is dope in itself. And sonically, people are saying that a lot of these beats on this album, that who have heard the album, I'll let you get to touch on that. You want to talk about the drug culture thing?
Not necessarily, but I kind of have three questions based off what you said. One, do you feel like, because I just touched on this, do you feel like there's any added pressure for him coming off his last release, which, not pan, but we know general consensus is, wasn't that good, especially for somebody of his caliber. Two, damn, we saw all the praise that's getting. That just got a Pulitzer Prize and all that stuff. Do you think that J. Cole is maybe like trying to not get at Kendrick, but trying to like one up him, so to speak?
I think
get the upper leg. He definitely did on that American Dream song.
I think, Kendrick might as well not shown up on that song. Not that Kendrick said anything bad.
And
he just didn't give bars.
And three, with the whole drug culture, I wonder if, and I feel like he's probably not. I don't think he's gonna mention any other artist by name. But what I do feel like he's going to do is have enough bars that people are going to think.
I know what he's talking about.
People are going to think, hey, he's taking shots at person X and person whatever.
That's another thing I want to say too. I don't think you're necessarily, people did this with J. Cole's False Prophet song. I don't think you're necessarily taking shots at somebody if you're speaking something that exists out there in the public and the truth. Yeah. Right? If there's people that we've elevated to a certain stature because of an artist, and a lot of people assumed he was talking about Kanye, which he probably was, I don't think that was taking shots at Kanye. I think that was just speaking to society and what we've done and how we look at people.
Kanye apparently got announced 2 albums that are coming out soon too.
Yeah, I wish I cared. I just don't care that much.
I care, man. For all the Kanye fans.
What's up, listener?
I love it.
I care. I'm just not excited. I shouldn't say.
All right.
I will always check at Kanye. I'm just not excited.
I don't know if I am, because
I'm not excited. The Life of Pablo was trash to me, so I know you love it.
It wasn't his best work, but I listened to it multiple times. I enjoyed it. Yeah, it is his worst, but I enjoyed it. I listened to it multiple times. I don't know. I just have an ear for odd music, I guess.
I'll comment.
Rap snitches get canicious.
Oh, stop it.
I'll comment on that later.
Before we go to answer your questions, your first question, your first couple questions was, one of your questions was, do I think he would come at Kendrick? And I know you didn't mean it in that way, just in a competitive standpoint.
But just kind of let me explain it better. Just to kind of remind people, like, I'm top 2 and I'm not 2. You know what I'm saying?
And he should feel that way. They're my 2 favorite rappers as far as people actively rapping right now. Yeah. I think they're the best 2 in the game of this generation by far. I think they're leaps and bounds better than everybody. Drake haters can come for me. Not coming at Drake and saying Drake isn't good, because I actually like Drake. I just don't think he's messing with those dudes. I just don't think he's in that category.
He's not.
Anyway.
You ain't got to think about it.
He's good, but I don't think he's with those dudes. But what I will say is I think there's always going to be a friendly competition between Kendrick and Cole. I think they love each other and love each other's music, and I think they're always going to be pushing each other. I think that it's interesting for maybe sonically what this album sounds like, because Kendrick's all his albums are very different sonically, and he went to a more probably radio-friendly sound in terms of Damn.
And then won
a Pulitzer Prize, which I don't think Damn was necessarily.
For his 4th best album.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily his best writing. I think his best writing came on Tip and Butterfly, but that's a whole other story. So I do think that'll happen. I do think he will, like you said, talk about some things and some people that will come out, and we'll know some rappers he's alluding to that glorify drug culture. We already know who those people are. Yeah. We don't even have to name their names.
Nor do I want to.
They rap about this all the time, and we have to start thinking about, what effect does that have on generations of people to come? It's time for people to have conversations about that within hip hop, and like the media you consume does affect you in some way.
Do we have time for the forbidden fruit theory?
Oh yeah, real quick on this.
Yeah, you got. I'll give you a minute.
Yeah.
I'll give you it.
Oh, yeah. He's running things because he's a producer.
I'm running things.
I'm producer Matt.
We're a little over, but I like this convo, so
No,
I'll let it run.
Okay, so literally a couple minutes before we got on to record this podcast, I was alerted to a Instagram post by Punch producer with TDE, who posted a picture of, I believe this is
I think it's a pair.
That's a pair.
Shout out to Rick Ross.
It looks like a pair. I hope it's a pair. And he put forbidden.
Yeah.
And I showed this picture to Brian. I said, who from TDE had something with a song Forbidden Fruit with J. Cole? That would be Kendrick Lamar off of the Born Sinner album.
And what you also mentioned was that on J. Cole's track list, let me pull that up real quick. So on J. Cole's track list, he announced 12 songs, which we already touched on. The last of the 12 songs, 1985, Intro to the Fall Off, and the Fall Off is apparently a separate project.
Yes, and I thought it interesting that when he's spoken about it, and other people said, they said another project, not another J. Cole album, another project, right? Makes me think that the album we've been waiting for a long time. And you think I'm hyped for this album?
Yeah.
That Kendrick J. Cole mixtape album, whatever you EP,
who cares?
I don't care.
Yeah.
My body has been ready. I'm ready. Wow. My ears are ready. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hope you're right. I'm not holding my breath because you know how it is with artists. You never want to get too.
Yeah.
But I hope you're right. That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen, I hope Punch isn't trolling. Absol,
that too.
I hope he's not. But here's why I think he's not.
I'm always up for a good troll.
A lot of people have given up on that album coming out.
Yeah, I kind of have.
And I understand why. But where I was slightly encouraged was at the top of last year, early last year, maybe January, February. This was before Damn came out.
Yeah.
Absol was doing an interview somewhere, and he was asked about it. And he said, oh, yeah, that's still definitely in the works. I just can't talk about it. Kendrick, he's like, yeah, Kendrick will not let me talk about it. We do not talk about that project.
I hope that if it does come out, that it's not too like right after. You know what I mean? Give us like 6 months or something like that. Drop it in the fall.
I just see that's an album I'm confident you won't even. You know how
I won't care.
You know, no, not that you won't care. You know how we actually got like 4 days of hype with this, with Cole announcing this on Monday.
Yeah.
They won't even tell you. You're just gonna wake up one day. It's gonna be on iTunes, and I'll be smiling from ear to ear.
Nah, there's gonna be Thursday morning, 8 a.m. They're gonna be like, tomorrow.
Nah, I don't even think you're getting that. It's just gonna be on Apple Music. It's gonna be on Spotify. I hope that happens.
Probably.
I don't want to know. I just want it to be there.
Yeah, that's one of the only collaborations that I care for because I think we're seeing way too many collaborations.
We're talking about rappers collaborations. Like rapper producer collaborations. I'm here for.
Oh, that's different. Except for Big Sean and Metro Boomin. But yeah, like for the most part.
Try not to laugh. Yo, Matt, you not here for that?
Not with it.
But no.
At all.
I'm just joking, kind of.
No, you're not.
But
no, you're not.
The only, but like, there's only like 3 collaborations that I care to hear, and that will be one of them.
No, I'd be very excited.
Bandana will obviously be the other one, and the Nas and AZ album that we're never.
Yeah, if you didn't say Bandana, I was gonna say for him.
We're gonna have to do a podcast, not a podcast, but a segment one time on collaboration because I got to really think about that. Are there really any collaborations?
There's more. I'm sure that there's more.
I don't know if there's any right now that I'm like dying to hear per se. I still would love to see producer. I would still love to see Nas and Primo do an album. But we'll talk about this at some point.
I would like to see Freddie Gibbs and BJ the Chicago Kid.
That's an interesting
because
combination.
they've made a bunch of songs together that actually sound really good.
Right before I go on the break, Freddie Gibbs, MF Doom, Madlib. What's your decision?
I'll buy that.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'll buy that.
Let's go to break.
Because Freddie Gibbs is in it.
Exactly.
That's all you need to know, folks.
There we go.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit of boxing and how Brian broke the news on some boxing beef, although a particular company did not want to acknowledge that was real. We'll talk more about that when we come back on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. What's up, listeners? You know sometimes how it can be hard just to get from point A to point B. Now, when I have to get anywhere and I don't want to deal with the hassle of public transportation, it ain't hard to tell how I get around. I always make sure to use the best car service app in the game. I'm talking about Lyft. Lyft offers rides in minutes. All you have to do is download the Lyft app, request a ride, and you will be on your way quickly. Lyft is all about happy riders and happy drivers. Take a ride with them and you'll see why 9 out of 10 rides end up with a 5-star rating. Lyft always has amazing offers for new customers, and I'm here to tell our listeners about a great offer today. Lyft is currently offering free ride credit to Ain't Hard to Tell listeners. If you are new to Lyft, then you are eligible, and getting your credit
is easy. All you have to do is download the app and use the promo code AHTTPOD to unlock your free credit today. Ain't hard to tell who has the best car app service, so use the code today and ride out loud with Lyft. The best new sports web series is here. It's from Backpack Broadcasting, and it's called The Sports Walk. The Sports Walk is a series where diverse sports fans take a walk and share their views at the intersection of sports and society. The entire first season is now available on Backpack Broadcasting's YouTube channel and backpackbroadcasting.com. See what other sports fans have to say about a variety of issues in the world of sports. Watch all 13 episodes from season 1 and take the Sports Walk today.
All right, welcome back to the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 28. Dexter, Henry, Brian Fonseca, our producer, Matthew Faniza in the house. Got to talk some good hip-hop. I'm so excited for this J.Cole album. I really am excited for this KOD. Next podcast, we definitely have a lot to talk about regarding this.
Yeah.
But in the boxing world, a lot's been going on. You were all over some stuff this week. There's apparently, this is boxing meets hip-hop world, we should say, or if you want to consider this artist hip-hop, that's a whole nother argument.
Also true. Charlemagne's compared this man to Sticky Fingers from Onyx, which I found interesting. So there's that.
Who, looking back, I remember my cousin having a lot of Onyx albums, and I just never was an Onyx guy. I'm not trying to go play Back the F Up again.
Or Slam.
I
got so tired of Slam when it was in 2K that one year.
I mean, like, when am I going to be? There's no time I'm going to be playing the Onyx album. But Adrien Broner, what a fall from great. If you would ask me 5 years ago that Adrien Broner would be where he is now as a boxer,
but
I would have said no.
It's weird because
I was very high on him.
And he's still main eventing. That's the thing, too. I think Charlo should be in the main event. Yeah, I think Charlo should be in the main event. But, I mean, Adrien Broner probably draws more money. Like,
he's polarizing, and I just can't get down with him because I think he acts extremely ignorant. And that's the nice version of me saying that.
Yeah.
But he has beef with Tekashi 6ix9ine. For those people who don't know, Tekashi 6ix9ine, rapper from Bushwick. And if you would have told me he was from Bushwick, Brooklyn, I never would have guessed he was from Bushwick, Brooklyn.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a New Yorker until fairly recently.
Yeah, didn't know that. I've heard.
Now I definitely know.
I finally heard, because today somebody around us was playing a song of his. I had still heard a song of his. So I really cannot judge his music.
Kind of heard it.
Yeah, I can't really judge his music, so I'm not going to do that, or what people think of his appearance. But he is beef with Adrien Broner. I knew nothing about this till you told me.
He's beef with a lot of people. So
why? Explain to us, why is Tekashi 6ix9ine beefing with Adrien Broner?
I don't know. All I know is that.
Well, thanks.
I don't know.
Breaking news.
I don't know why. I don't know why, but so
like, what could the two possibly ever have to talk about?
Tekashi 6ix9ine commented a clown emoji under one of Adrien Broner's Instagram posts.
So basically, he's calling Adrien Broner a clown.
Yeah, apparently that's what happened. And then
I can see that.
Adrien Broner answered, can't even repeat what he said. Don't even care to. It doesn't matter.
You don't want to repeat a lot of what Adrien Broner says.
And he basically said like a whole bunch of things and threatening for him to pull up or whatever, and basically like challenging him to throw down or whatever the case may be. Like, it was just,
internet tough talk.
Go find that on Instagram. So then Tekashi 6ix9ine responded, throwing a lot of money in the air, saying that he's going to bet $300,000 that Adrien Broner loses this Saturday, because, by the way, there is an actual fight, this Saturday at Barclays Center against Jesse Vargas, which I'll be there for, and that's the main event. And he's going to bet $300,000. He claims to have not even known Adrien Broner's name in the video, which it's actually a pretty funny video. He's just throwing money everywhere and just talking like incoherently. And then after that, Adrien Broner puts up a check, obviously blurred out some of the key parts, and says that he's betting $300K on himself to beat Jesse Vargas. He's going to be the betting favorite anyway, so I don't see why you would bet $300,000 on yourself. And then I reported yesterday or the day before, because the media workouts actually got canceled on Wednesday, and right before that, I was told by two reliable sources that are, I would say, closely involved with this boxing card, and I'll say nothing more than that. That part of the reason they shut that down, the media workouts, which don't really get shut down that often, is because of the beef between these two and how it could escalate. Because the media workouts were going to be at Gleason's gym, and if you really think about it, you can't really have media workouts at Gleason's gym and and have security there too, because it's not. There's not really
that space.
There's not the space for that.
For people to understand, it's very small. It's
just a gym. You could just walk in there and do what you want. You know what I mean? So they didn't have it this time around. The press conference was earlier today. I was not there because I was obviously working on some other stuff. But what I was told and what I saw was from the people that was there was that there was extra security. And why wouldn't they cancel the press conference if they canceled this because it's Tekashi 6ix9ine and Adrien Broner's beef? Well, think about it. In the hotel room where they have that, I don't know if it was a Dream Downtown Hotel, I forget, but it's a hotel room. There's security at the front door. There's all that stuff going on.
There's a lot more way
you could easily, see a dude with a rainbow-haired perm and try to get him out of there if you wanted to.
Now you can't not hard to miss Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, I'm not dissing his hair or whatever. I'm just saying like that's what it is.
You're not getting a rainbow hair perm anytime soon?
No, I don't. That's not really my thing. Tattoos on my face, like that's not really my thing. If he wants to roll like that, cool. It's obviously working for him for now.
It's a good market.
You know what I mean?
We could be crushing this podcast if we had rainbow permed hair.
No. It's just not. I can't. Tekashi could pull that off. I can't.
I couldn't look at my daughter.
Why not,
I couldn't
man?
look at my daughter the same if I had rainbow permed hair.
Yeah, but so basically all that's going on. We'll see what happens Saturday. I mean, it'd be funny if I was Jesse Vargas, I would try to have Tekashi 6ix9ine perform for me to the ring on the way to the ring, but I don't know if he'll be allowed to get into the arena. I don't know where that's at right now.
I don't know if the security's gonna be like that. That would be dope. I don't know.
I've seen some other crazy things at Barclays Center too that escalated that I'm not gonna repeat on this podcast, but I've told you guys in private. At a recent fight. But yeah,
here's what I heard in all that story when you talked about Tekashi throwing the money up in the air, Broner showing the tech. It seems like two people who have access to money and are ignorant as hell, just showing off their ignorance back and forth with each other. Yeah, that's it. Both of them need to go have seats somewhere. Yeah, several seats.
I mean, we'll see.
Somewhere.
We'll see. I am somewhat looking forward to this card, even though Charlo versus Hugo Centeno, Broner versus. I was gonna say Broner versus Tekashi 6ix9ine. Broner versus Jesse Vargas.
Oh, that's what the people want to see.
And Gervonta Davis is on the card. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm looking forward to watching on the undercard Heather Hardy, Richardson Hitchens. But for the most part, I mean, this is getting hyped up. But these are one-sided fights. And to be honest, Adrien Broner versus Jesse Vargas, I'm surprised that this is the main event over Charlo versus Hugo Centeno, because Charlo is really, Gervonta Davis looks like a star too, but
he does.
Charlo is there right now.
Yeah,
he's the one that's in his prime. But Broner's
polarizing. Broner's polarizing,
but
that's what it's about.
Like with me, like Jesse Vargas, I've seen him get dominated by Manny Pacquiao in 2016, not Pacquiao in his prime in 2004 or 2008, but 2016. And I also saw Jesse Vargas lose to Timothy Bradley. Granted,
I forgot he fought Bradley.
Yeah, he knocked him down. Whatever. The shocking win that he had was when he beat Saddam Ali, but I never thought Saddam Ali was like
any good.
Not any good, but granted, he beat Miguel Cotto, but Miguel Cotto got hurt. And I think Saddam Ali's a good fighter. Yeah. But would he even beat Adrien Broner?
No.
He shouldn't, based on Adrien Broner's talent level.
Right, but
he'd probably be more focused. But Adrien Broner's supremely talented, but it's like
he's a nut.
And he's lost to the three best fighters that he's fought. That's all you need to know. Like who's somebody else in sport? Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is like this too, where you look at his career, as great as he was during that run. Matt, could you even name somebody that Mike Tyson beat off the top of your head?
No.
Okay.
I can't, honestly. I've never really followed boxing.
Could you name somebody off the top?
Buster Douglas?
He didn't beat him.
Oh,
Mike
that's
Tyson
right.
No, that Mike Tyson beat.
Mike Tyson beat.
Because he lost to all the best fighters that he fought. Evander Holyfield, Buster Douglas, one of the best fighters he fought.
Yeah, boxing's not strong suit.
Lennox Lewis, you know what I mean? Like, he's lost to all, like... So with Adrien Broner...
But see, the difference is with Mike Tyson, when you say he's on his run, he was dominating.
I feel like
knocking people out viciously.
It's hard because at the same time when he was on that run, I feel like he would have beaten most heavyweights ever. But I mean, will we ever be able to prove that? No, and that's why he's held in such high regard, because he brought excitement, not to just that, but just to the sport.
He was viciously dominating people.
And when Adrien Broner was coming up, kind of like Gervonta Davis now, he was he was actually more popular or whatever. He was bringing excitement.
Yeah, I was hyped 5 years ago.
A lot of people thought he was going to be the next Floyd, and then he lost to Marcos Maidana.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Sean Porter.
Yep.
And then he lost to Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia is probably the only guy that I would argue that is more talented than Adrien Broner. But I don't even know if I would say that. It's just Mikey Garcia is more disciplined,
He's
more focused,
that's the difference.
more serious. With Sean Porter, same thing, more disciplined, more focused, more serious. Maidana, same thing, more disciplined, more focused, more serious. And then Adrien Broner,
which matters.
Who's Adrien Broner's best win? Is it even going to be Jesse Vargas after this? I'm looking at the wins right now off the top of my head.
His best win, I hate to say it, and I was probably there, and I don't think it was a great win. You're probably going to say Paulie Malignaggi.
And that was a split decision.
Yeah, I was there. I was in the building to watch
and that was a split. He didn't even. And Paulie, I mean, not to say Paulie's not a bad, obviously not a bad.
No,
fighter.
but he was on the obviously the downside of his career. But it's if you're saying that's his best win, your point is that's not that great.
Case closed.
Yeah. Moving on.
We spent too much time on that.
Yeah, we probably did. Talked too much about Tekashi 6ix9ine and Adrien Broner.
Sorry, guys. We'll get it back here.
Well, all right. We are going to be no longer down for some ignorance. We're going to move on to Canelo.
Oh, I love that Vic Mensa song.
Canelo Alvarez suspended for 6 months, which began after last failed drug test in February.
Yeah.
It'll be lifted on August 17th, which is just in time for Triple G to fight him in September, which is what we all care about. Now, Triple G...
Was that Mexican Independence?
Mexican Independence Day, right? Now, Triple
G... In September, we mean.
September. Yes. Yes. Obviously, he was supposed to fight on Cinco de Mayo. Triple G has a new opponent for Cinco de Mayo. His name is who?
Vanis Martirosyan.
Who?
I think I'm saying that right.
Who?
I don't really care if I'm saying that right.
Who? Wait, what?
All right, let me.
There you go. Who?
Say it again.
Vanis. We'll call him Vanis.
No.
Why you don't want to say that last? Why you don't say that last name though?
Because it doesn't matter. Because he's gonna get knocked out like quick. Here's my thing.
I'm glad you know it doesn't matter.
We recently. Okay. I think I'm gonna have more to say to this than you are.
Most likely.
I'm still trying to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm trying to do.
But here's my thing.
Okay.
In UFC, and we mentioned this recently, in UFC, when something like this happens and an opponent drops out,
yes,
look at who they almost got to fight against Habib, you know, on UFC 223 in the main event. They almost got Max Holloway to shed a lot of weight and fight for that lightweight title, or gain a lot of weight and fight for that lightweight title. Yeah. I think I had it right. Because my memory's like off today. But Max Holloway, big name, and then they ended up going in a different direction, whatever. But UFC, because everything is under one sanctioning body.
Right. You can get the name to slide into this fight.
You can get a highly ranked challenger, but in boxing, there's so much other stuff you have to go through. I would have liked to have seen Triple G fight Demetrius Andrade. That's not going to happen. And mainstream boxing fans were not going to pay pay-per-view for that, but they would have discovered.
They ain't going to pay for this.
No, but they would have discovered somebody that, hey, you know, this kid is talented. I think he would have put up a good fight against Triple G. Probably would have lost by decision, but I think he would have given him a lot of problems. 6'2", middleweight now. Because he used to fight 6'2", 6'3", even, and his reach is something like 80, 81.
And he would have relished that opportunity.
Southpaw, like he would have given Triple G some problems. I think it would have been as competitive, if not more competitive, than the Canelo fight.
All right, so here we go. Do you care about this fight?
No, I don't want my computer to restart. What are you doing?
I thought you said no. I don't want the fight. That's what I thought he was going to say.
My computer's restarting. Great.
Because I was like, yo, I feel the same way.
So Vanis.
Don't do it. You can't say his name. Just call him Vanis.
He last fought 2 years ago.
Oh, I didn't even know this. This is more reason why I don't care.
And he lost
to who?
For the second time.
Okay, I have questions.
Hold on,
Dex. Right wait for it. It's important.
Look at his name. To my guy, who I really think is high level, one of the best pound for pound fighters, even though he lost his last fight.
Who's that?
Erislandy Lara. If you don't know mainstream, if you know mainstream boxing,
I don't.
You might not know who that is.
All right,
no idea.
If you don't know, because he's not really a mainstream.
It's a cool name though. It's a cool name.
He's Cuban. He's great. He just lost to Jarrett Hurd in a close title fight. The same night as UFC 223, by the way. But yo, in all seriousness, Triple G, were you gonna get a much better opponent than this on short notice, judging by the way boxing is? Probably not. But to be honest with you, like, you can't get excited for this. You just can't. You got Chocolatito back on the undercard, Roman Gonzalez. For those of you who don't know who Chocolatito is, and
great nickname.
Yeah, but he lost his last 2 fights to Rung Vasai, and I'm not in a hurry to see him either.
Here's what you need to know that's wrong with boxing.
What's
How
that?
are you going to fight? How are you going to? Your last fight was almost 2 years ago from the date, just a little under 2 years of the date of this coming fight on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah,
you took an L.
Yeah.
How you get this shot against Triple G?
Because
what
boxing
makes me think
is
you have the right to be
Adrien Broner lost to Mikey Garcia in July. I was there for that. And what happens? Almost, like 9-10 months later, he is in a main event against Jesse Vargas.
But see, I could at least give the argument that dude's polarizing, and there's enough people that hate him and want to see him lose, and enough people that like his ignorance and want to see him win.
I think a growing number of people don't care for him as much as they. I think more people hated him before. Now I think less people just care for him.
Like me. But my thing is, this dude Vanes has done nothing. You ain't fought in 2 years, and your last fight you took an L to somebody we don't even know. I barely knew him.
I know very much who that is, but I know you mean the mainstream audience.
He
also lost to Jamel Charlo. And he also lost to Demetrius Andrade.
I saw that.
Who I just mentioned, which is why I would have liked to have seen Demetrius Andrade get that opportunity. He did knock down Demetrius Andrade.
I'm just saying,
in that
if you
fight.
look at his resume, which is easy for anybody to look up, it's not impressive. He wouldn't be hired for this job.
Relative to somebody fighting Triple G.
That's the point. Relative to somebody fighting Triple G on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
That all matters.
Cinco de Mayo weekend,
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo weekend. No thanks. So here's what Dexter's going to do. Not watch. Don't care.
Is there anything else on that night?
There's going to be an NBA playoff game on that night?
Probably,
Probably.
Yeah.
I'll be tuned in. Be a Mets going to be playing that night?
Probably.
I'll be tuned in.
Yeah.
Triple G, good night and good luck.
If it's pay-per-view, absolutely not. I'll try to get a stream. If it's
is this gonna be? Who's gonna buy this on pay-per-view? Who's spending their hard-earned money to watch this? You got to be the die-hard Triple G fan.
Now, according to Box,
I like Triple G.
According
I'm
to
a Triple G fan, but I'm skipping this one.
According to BoxRec, it's not on pay-per-view.
Thank God. How you gonna say? How would you?
I don't know if I'm still gonna watch it though. See, people would have. And another name that I saw was Danny Jacobs, like them to have the rematch. But Danny Jacobs is fighting next week.
Next week. Otherwise, now that would have made sense. I would pay for that.
Oh, that's you could sell that on pay-per-view.
Yeah,
you could absolutely, because they had a great first fight that was debatable. That I was there, and I think Danny Jacobs edged him out by a point, even though he got knocked down, because you saw him kind of wear down Triple G at the end.
Ooh. Now, good job by them not putting us on pay-per-view.
Where is it then?
Another rumored opponent was
who has this fight? This is Showtime, right?
HBO.
HBO
has Triple G. HBO has K2
that's right. I forgot.
But what's it called? Billy Joe Saunders was another name.
L for HBO, by the way.
Big L.
Billy Joe Saunders was another name. You guys don't know who I'm talking about.
Definitely not.
I'm not even going to continue. Billy Joe Saunders is from England. He's also undefeated. He had a great showing in his last fight against David Lemieux, who Triple G also dominated a couple years ago. But again, boxing with the lack of star power, especially on HBO, you're not really going to get anybody that's going to make you pay for this fight. So it sucks. And let's get back to the main story, Canelo. Now, ideally, you would see this in September because suspension will be lifted August 17th. Now, will we actually see it? I think we will.
It's definitely happening.
You feel like it's
HBO
lost?
needs it to happen.
Do you feel like it's lost a little bit?
No, no. Just because of the way the last match went, people still going to be starved for this. This probably actually only adds to the hunger for it. I don't think it kills it in any kind of way. And I'll tell you what, HBO needs that now. Even though they don't got nothing.
Yeah, and even though I don't think this will happen, but hypothetically speaking, because we're gonna wrap this up and get into some NBA stuff next and some other stuff. But I think that, let's say, okay, Triple G, this guy Vanes hasn't fought in 2 years. Let's say Triple G, hypothetically speaking, just struggles a little bit. Do you think that will entice people more for the Canelo fight? Like, oh, he's definitely going to beat him, and then maybe they'll want to see it more.
I can see that. I can see people if they see
I don't think that's going to happen at all.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think Triple G's knocking this dude out in the 4th or 5th round, probably.
I can see that.
Because you haven't fought in 2 years in boxing. That matters. That matters. You have a long layoff. I just saw this happen to Felix Verdejo recently. He was already having all these injury struggles. He comes back after the longest layoff in his young career because he's only 24, 25 years old. I think he'll be 25 in May. And he comes off 13-month layoff in March at the Embassy Theater. He gets dropped. He has no legs in the last round, and then he gets stopped.
Yeah, I think that stuff matters.
Triple G's going to walk right through this.
I do think if Triple G looks shaky, it would add to more intrigue.
And he's been known to kind of just drop his hands and like just get hit.
I think Triple G also should dominate this dude and just be like, look, y'all know what time it is. I'm waiting for this to happen in September.
He should do it quick. Do it quick.
When it comes to September.
I would love for him to get a first-round knockout. We don't see first-round. We don't see
one in a
We don't see first-round knockouts enough. The last one I remember seeing was Charlo versus Erickson Lubin.
I didn't watch that
October.
Fight.
I
missed that fight, but hopefully
knockout.
We'll see. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit of NBA.
That was Jermell Charlo.
We have some, Jermell Charlo. We'll have some NBA baseball in Puerto Rico this week, even though there was no power there a couple days ago. And we're gonna have a guest comment. We're now gonna have some of our listeners send in some topics they want to talk about. We're gonna respond to that. So we have all that coming up on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast.
Sports Guru is the place where fans talk about sports via video. All videos are 60 seconds or shorter. Sports Guru makes the video look more professional and fun by adding automated on-screen graphics. You can follow your favorite sports by team, trending, new, or by people you follow, and more. Type in the title of your video and it will auto-magically go into your on-screen graphics. It's just that simple. Tag your teams and publish sports. Let's talk sports.
It ain't hard to tell where to get the latest merchandise from Backpack Broadcasting. Gear is now available via TeePublic. Visit the Backpack Broadcasting TeePublic online store to get shirts, hoodies, mugs, and phone cases. Represent your favorite Backpack Broadcasting shows, including the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, and of course, the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Check out the special offers for our podcast listeners at http://t.pub/lic/backpack. Get in the game with your official Backpack Broadcasting gear today.
All right, welcome back to the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Dexter, Henry, Brian Fonseca here. You there? We have Matthew Faniza somewhere.
Yo.
Whose phone keeps vibrating?
That's mine.
Is that J.Cole alerts?
Yeah, actually, J.Cole was just texting me.
Is he good for next week?
He says, he's coming to good for next week.
Yeah, he's good, guys. He's good for next week.
We're going to talk all about the album with J.Cole. KOD. No, we're joking. We do not have J.Cole booked yet. I'm not against speaking things.
We had true stories. We had
Sky Zoo. That's pretty close.
No, we had Freddie Gibbs for next week, but like J. Cole's album just came out. So.
We absolutely bumped Freddie Gibbs. Absolutely, it would hurt Brian's heart.
I'm not bumping any guest that wants to come on. We had him booked.
No, we would never do that.
It's not the production
we love all our guests, all the fantastic guests that have come on.
No, we love them all. We love all
our guests. Stop it.
Let's roll.
I'm kidding. All
right, moving along. Baseball in your native land of Puerto Rico.
Yes.
This
week. Mine too.
Yes, and yours too.
You're part Italian, though.
It's all right.
He gets to claim some Puerto Rico. Baseball in Puerto Rico this week. Good thing for the sport is a good thing they played even after there was a power outage that affected the rest of the island and they still played a baseball game. I felt the optics of that might look a little bit bad.
This is interesting.
What did you think about that?
I thought that I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, I'm kind of glad they did it because some people got to, it's a distraction for a little while, but some people got to enjoy baseball. Francisco Lindor had that big home run that everybody went crazy.
Which he said was very special for him to hit there.
Oh my God. Francisco Lindor, selfishly is one of my favorite players.
Mine too.
So, and he's just great at everybody saw that? For those of you who don't know, we're watching the Mets game right now.
Why, I don't know.
Francisco Lindor was great, and Kevin Blackistone. I was watching Around the Horn. Kevin Blackistone had an interesting point to this. So they were talking about how Anthony Rizzo said that they're playing too much baseball right now, and baseball was at its best. He didn't say this part, but baseball was at its best when it was a 154-game season. I think if you're going to cut games, which they're not going to do because of money, but hypothetically speaking, let's speculate. We have a podcast. We're supposed to do this. Yes. 162-game season, too damn much. 82-game season in basketball, also too damn much, and hockey. But back to baseball. 162 games, they're saying maybe they could drop it to 154, 140, whatever the case may be. Kevin Blackstone's theory was that, hey, if the season's going to be so long, why don't you, especially this time of the year, have more games in the South, especially for the northern teams like the Mets, like the Yankees or whatever, instead of keeping them up here where it's still 42 damn degrees and it feels like 38, have them play some games in Puerto Rico, in Mexico, in Venezuela and places like that where it's warmer, and you're going to get some of that.
That's not a horrible idea.
Maybe places in Florida even. You know what I mean?
You're just keeping the team away from home, and fans are not getting those home days.
But then they'll have a lot of home. I mean, yes, they'll have opening.
It's going to be imbalanced, and some people are going to be pissed at that.
Maybe they'll have 1 or 2 home series in April, but then you have a lot more like later on in like May, June, or whatever, when the weather actually gets nicer where you live at.
I think another thing that
I would like to see that. I think
another thing you'd like to do is also keep, because you saw some of these inclement weather situations, the Yankees and Tigers last weekend.
You got base.
Only play divisional games in April if you're going to do that. Because when you have inclement weather situations within your division, you're going to see those teams multiple times and have similar off days. So it's easier to make that up than when it's not in your division. It's harder because like the Yankees don't go back to Detroit, for example.
I shouldn't see Bryce Harper and others going up to bat with hoodies on.
Yeah.
All right. Like
one thing also is I think
it's either that or make more domes. Get more retractable roofs.
Well, see, that's
even then. Even the Blue Jays game they also canceled. I think. Well, I might have to fact check that.
I think something happened with the roof.
I know what you're talking.
Yeah, it might have been the roof. Yeah, I heard about that too. But I think this is like the one season in MLB where there's the most rain delays. Not even that, but like games that had to be rescheduled for double headers and such.
Yeah.
That like the most
in
history, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But here's my thing. Brian brought up a point. Here's something I've never understood. You look at all the stadiums in baseball, and almost every team has a fairly new stadium that's been built within the last 10 to 20 years, right? Yeah. It's possible to take a stadium and even after it's been built, put a retractable roof on it.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
They did it at
the USTA.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly what I was going to say.
They've done it after. You know why the USTA did it? Because they said, man, this is stupid that we lose so many dates and our tournament gets pushed back to games that we missed because of rain. It can literally affect you have championship Saturday and Sunday. It can end up being, as it happened one year when I was covering the US Open, happened Tuesday and Wednesday. And they couldn't get as many people there during the week as they could on the weekend, right? Why haven't baseball teams said, hey, we've got a lot of teams with new stadiums. I'm taking out the Cubs and I'm taking out the Red Sox. Yeah, you can't. And probably the Oakland A's,
the Dodgers,
and the Dodgers Stadium, which you probably won't be. But everybody else is pretty modern.
Yeah,
can add. Why? First of all, for some of the teams that have been built recently, like teams you root for, like the Mets or the Yankees here in New York,
or Atlanta, where they're at right now.
Why haven't you guys? And we're black again with us behind us.
Good.
Why haven't
we're black again?
Which I have no problem with.
Why you're not watching, Dexter just raised his fist.
I just raised my fist.
Yeah,
and if you're mad about that, then check yourself.
Get off this podcast.
Why haven't they added retractable roofs? Why would you not want your customers to always have the experience of being able to see the game? Rainouts should not be a thing anymore. We are in 2018.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
You're right. You're right about that.
Now the baseball purists are going to say,
and that's what I was going to bring up.
Is we like to enjoy the game outdoors and feel the fresh breeze and eat the peanuts and cashews and hot dogs and everything else.
What voice is that? Is that the baseball fan?
That's the old time.
Is that the baseball fan, as Dan Le Batard says, whose median age is death?
Yes. Like, oh yeah, sorry. Back in 1920 when I was watching Murderers Row, I like I like to see every game. We didn't have a retractable roof. You guys are not tough anymore.
But
rub some dirt on it.
But in terms of business perspective for these places, they can also use this during the off season for other events with a retractable roof.
Absolutely. And you got more concerts there.
Exactly.
Right. It just makes business sense to do
Nas,
this.
Whenever he finally drops that album, could perform in Citi Field.
It makes business sense to do that. It makes business sense to do that.
It does.
But baseball's always stuck in its own way. If we talked about on this podcast, we have recurring themes on this podcast.
Tons
that being one of them. Baseball's stuck in its own way.
We just talked about tennis. Who's like, hey, the USTA, let's do this. because this is going to be better for our product and the fans coming to watch the game. I don't think
it was great.
I don't think baseball's doing right by the fans here.
Yeah.
Because that's the biggest issue. To forget the moving around, every stadium and the teams, y'all got money to do this. They got these teams could pony up the money to do this.
Oh, yeah, you're playing 162 games in a season.
And now you can get more use out of that stadium, as Brian mentioned. You can bring concerts in there in the winter.
Yeah.
It's another venue. So if somebody can't book the Garden, now they can book Citi Field or Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe y'all
It's
could get
better.
Billy Joel
It's
to
also-
Citi Field for once.
It also can now
Instead of the Garden.
makes it more
Honestly.
attractive for some cities that may not have an MLS team that doesn't want to build a soccer stadium, or temporarily they can then play there when they start their
I still feel that NYC.
I don't like soccer teams playing in
I don't
baseball
like.
stadiums. I don't like it.
I haven't gone to NYCFC game yet.
I saw them play. Their last game of the homes. I covered them last year.
Was at Citi Field.
They played their last game at Citi Field. I don't remember why.
Because there was a conflict with a Yankee game.
Yeah.
And
Playoffs. The playoffs. It was like something with
It
the
was a
playoff day.
big NYCFC game
Yeah,
too.
and
Like,
it
they were
was.
competing for home field advantage.
Yeah, and my problem is like I don't like. It would be great for temporarily for MLS teams, but Atlanta is a new team that just came up last year, and they have one of the most gorgeous looking stadiums that I've ever laid eyes on.
Oh, the one we're watching right now.
No, Atlanta FC.
Oh, FC.
And the MLS, and you have no idea, man. Go look up a picture.
Is that Matt Harvey?
Stadium.
Is that Matt Harvey with runners on second and third?
Yeah.
What's the score? I can't see from here.
Doesn't matter. You
Doesn't
traded
matter.
him
We're
to the
losing.
show.
There we go.
All right, move.
I gotta go return.
And here's my also thing why the Mets won't get a retractable roof. Will Ponds. Okay, then let's go.
You know what?
Next topic.
There's no argument to that. We
Nope.
know how
Will
they like to
Ponds.
spend. They like
That's
to
it.
put their money to people like Bernie Madoff and other stuff. Idiots. So
Let's get to the happy stuff.
Yeah.
So Matt,
What's up?
No, well, I do want to actually continue with something on the Mets real quick. This was an interesting week for the Mets as a fan because I can't
oh
listen.
right, the actual game
can't-
come from behind win.
I can't listen to
Multiple
fans
times.
anymore with baseball. Baseball kills me. There's 162 games. There's too many games. The Mets
I just
are off to
yawned
a
just
great
thinking
start.
about how many games there
even
are.
though they're not off to a great start
Yeah.
right now in this game that's on while we're watching.
Oh, God.
The Mets are off to a great start.
Is that an
And
RBI
the Mets
double?
lost
Yikes.
one tough game where they blew a lead and
Yeah.
everybody's the sky's falling.
Yeah.
Could you please, people who watch sports, you've been watching sports long enough to know that every year you watch baseball, couple games a year, your team's gonna blow it. The bullpen's gonna blow it. They're gonna blow a lead. It happens every year.
Yeah,
It's
probably
April.
not quite like that because that was
April.
historic. But I feel you. Yeah,
It's April.
my
Yeah,
thing is
come
the
on.
only sport where every single regular season game matters
NFL.
is the NFL
And college football.
Except football is a sport largely run by bigots, so we ain't
Yeah.
gonna care about that. Besides, the
I s-
games
that's my
stop
thing.
mattering if you go.
Everybody needs to calm down.
If
That's
you
all
go-
I'm
They
saying.
do.
If you go
And-
into 0-8 start, but yeah, back to the point.
Mets-
Baseball is 162 games, and it's April. It's
calm
like
down.
how for a lot of people, the NBA doesn't truly start until Christmas time.
It kind of doesn't.
For me,
You know
it's
what I mean?
Memorial Day with baseball.
Baseball, Memorial Day. Some people would even say the All-Star break because there's so many damn games.
Yeah, I
and
understand.
really, you don't get to the halfway threshold until early in July. Then by the time you get into the All-Star break, you're at like 95 games. So, yeah, that's kind of where the season starts. Or if you're the Marlins, for example, your season's done in May, so you ain't got to watch this year.
Season's done. They traded.
Or the Rays.
Yeah, so
Or the Rays.
Yeah,
Tough
so-
times in Florida for
Any
it's
watching.
just
Florida team.
too many games to get. Like I get it. Some
The
people
Magic.
like they're, huh? Like I get it
Never
because
mind.
there's some people are like very emotionally invested
Yeah.
in the team, but you just gotta relax. Like
Just
like,
relax.
It's
Every
April.
game it's not
it's a
like
great
that.
come from behind win
it's
yesterday.
funny
It
you
was two
said that,
losses,
too.
whatever.
And then somebody, if the Mets lose this game that's on right now as we talk, they're down 6-0.
I'm not gonna cry about it.
Six- it's six.
Oh my god, that's a 6.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh man, we lost to the Braves. Relax, it's April. They still have the best record in the National
Look, man,
League.
you
Yeah.
just look. The good thing is that they got off to that hot start, so you have some
Have a little
cushion.
bit of a cushion.
You have
There
some
you go.
cushion for times like these because it's inevitable. In the NBA and in baseball, it's inevitable. You're going to go through these lows. And hockey, hockey too.
Yeah, hockey.
You're going to
Everything.
go through
Every
these
game.
lows.
Any sport.
Not so much in football where because football you
A
can
lull
have,
is like you can
football you
afford
could
a
have
game,
it
but
for a
2
game.
games,
Football you'll have it for a
but
game.
you can't have it
which
for
is
2.
different.
2 is when you can start panicking.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But
baseball,
for baseball, it's like you're
come
gonna
on,
have
man.
multiple in a season. Think about it. Like as a hitter, Yoenis Cespedes, right? He's somebody who's gonna hit what this year? 270, 275,
I'm hoping
maybe.
better.
Yeah, I hope
maybe
so.
280.
That's really
so.
optimistic.
He's somebody who's gotten off to a horrid start. He had his first slump of the season right now in April. On a good year, where he's hitting 270, 280 and still near 30 home runs if he's healthy all year and about 100 RBIs. He's still going to have maybe 2 more slumps this year. Maybe one in July, maybe one in August, whatever. And
you just hope it doesn't happen when you're in the postseason.
And he had a grand slam yesterday.
Which was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't get crazy about stuff.
No.
All right, on to postseason play, not more regular season talk. The NBA playoffs have started. It's been very interesting so far. Matt is smiling. His Jazz won a game to tie up their season.
Take note.
With OKC, and the Thunder couldn't hit any shots in the second half. I definitely took note of that.
0 for 14.
I think the playoffs have been exciting. I thought one thing I wanted to react to was we saw the Celtics are up 2-0 on the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
And Terry Rozier has been giving it to Eric Bledsoe. I mean, giving him the business.
Yeah.
But Eric Bledsoe had this to say when asked about Terry Rozier and his play after their Game 2 loss.
Terry Rozier's gotten off to a strong start to the series, no turnovers in 78 minutes. How personally do you take that matchup?
Who?
Terry Rozier.
I don't even know who that is.
All right, now, Brian, you heard Eric Bledsoe and what he had to say.
You almost...
He didn't know. He just talking about he doesn't know who Terry Rozier is. What is this man talking about?
I saw somebody say that, and I kind of agree with this, but it's stupid. It's because Terry Rozier called him Drew Bledsoe, and then Eric Bledsoe responded by, I don't know who that guy is. Even after, to hit what almost became a game-winning shot.
Yes, and had you on skates.
Yes, crossover dribble, step back, and this dude, Eric Bledsoe, was at the free throw line, just kind of standing there. And he doesn't know who that man's name is? Come on, stop it.
Stop it.
I understand it. Look, we're from New York. We're from a city where people will talk, no matter what the scenario is, when they're down by 50, whatever. We're from that too. We get it. But, come on, man.
Nah, you
in
on
the middle of a
TV.
playoff series, national TV, down 2-0, just got crossed to beat the buzzer, basically. Come on, man.
Bruh, you on national TV, and like Jalen Rose said.
What was the question, by the way? What was the question
that I had?
No. What was the question that Eric Bledsoe was asked that led him to the name again?
I think the person said, I can't really look back at the clip. I can't remember because I think he said why. I think they asked why he'd been so troubled guarding him.
Yeah. Now I remember.
He
It
said,
slipped my head.
Like Jalen Rose said.
It slipped my head. It's like, come on, man.
Jalen Rose is like, you know who he is. You've been looking at the back of the jersey every time he's blown past
you don't have to go who. You don't have to say that. You could just totally say something else like, he's been playing well. We got to play better. Whatever. Whatever.
That was levels.
I'm glad that he actually said something interesting, though, unlike some other athletes.
I mean, it was interesting, but you came across as real corny. And
it sucks because I actually picked Milwaukee to win that series. It looks like
I picked him in 7.
And same thing with Portland.
Milwaukee doesn't look good. Okay, Portland, you talked about that. Drew Holiday's looked really good for the Pelicans.
Drew Holiday's so good, man.
I've
been saying that for a while.
I mean,
too.
Alvin Gentry, you talking about he's one of the best two-way players in the league, and I was like, man, the way he's playing, he sure looks like it.
When the Knicks could have gotten, there was a point where there was rumors that the Knicks would go after Drew Holiday, whatever. Was this when they got Derrick Rose, right? It was before they got Derrick Rose?
Yes, it was that year.
That year, and before they got Joakim Noah. Oh, God.
Really?
So, what's it called? So, I thought they should have had Drew Holiday. I thought they should have went after him.
I wasn't crazy about that
But
move.
the thing that was at that time, he's been healthy recently. And at that time, it was like,
injury.
Could he stay healthy for an entire season? He's done that since then. And he's earning the big bucks that made him he was an all-star before in Philadelphia. You could argue that he could have been 1 or 2 more times since then. But Drew Holiday, man, as much as I really think that Damian Lillard is, as highly as I think of Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday's really, really, really been one of the best things in the playoffs for me to watch.
Oh, absolutely. He's been fantastic.
He's been great.
He's been absolutely fantastic. He's played great on both sides of the ball. Big-time shots. The Pelicans have looked like they had no fear on the road, executing well.
They look like they might sweep Portland.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Portland will get it back home.
I have way too much respect for Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum.
But they got to win. As we're recording this podcast, they got to win Game 3. They absolutely have to win Game 3, but we'll see what they're able to do. That'll be interesting. Are you last series I'll talk to before we move on, LeBron James drops 46 in Game 2. Are you a believer? We'll get to the Jazz too. We're not going to
4-1
disrespect them.
Cavs.
4-1 Cavs. I wasn't, but here's the thing. I wasn't impressed by he dropped to 46. I was impressed with LeBron James. I wasn't impressed with the Cavs. No.
I could see that.
I was not impressed with the team. There was a lot of horrible mistakes by some players down the stretch. I was not impressed with the team at all whatsoever. Now, they bounced back the way they had to, but they got to show me some more when they go to Indy.
See, and this is what scares me is that you look at what it took, right? So they lose that first game after looking as bad as they've looked. Not even as bad as they looked all season, because they've looked like that at other points this season.
Word.
However, LeBron, look at what it takes for him to kind of get out of that. He had 20 points in the first quarter.
Amazing first quarter.
He had
the focus in his eye.
You watch the game and you're like, all right, this is why he's top 2 player of all time. Yep. You know, you watch it and it's like, this is why. Because when he wants to, he can just demoralize the team. But what happens? Cleveland couldn't sustain that lead.
His own team demoralized him.
Oh, yeah. Cleveland couldn't sustain that lead.
What happened?
And it sucks because, and I don't want to get into this entirely broad discussion of, oh, does LeBron need more help? Because the LeBron detractors will say, oh, every time his teams don't perform, he needs more help. But I will say this, every time his team doesn't perform, you see that on the flip side, he's performing really well where he's getting 46 or 40, 11, and 7 or whatever it is, and his team doesn't hold up. And it's like, oh, is it because he's stat padding? Is it because he's ball hogging? And when you watch the actual games, he is trying to get other guys involved. But if you watch like game 1, they're missing open threes at an alarming rate.
Missed
I
a
like
lot of
Jeff
shots.
Green. I like Rodney Hood, but guys,
they're not hitting the shots right now, and that's part of the problem. Speaking of people who were hitting the shots,
getting out-hustled too.
Out-hustled.
Yeah.
In game 2, Utah Jazz bounced back after their game 1 loss to the Thunder. Paul George went nuts in that game. But Donovan Mitchell, Matt's Rookie of the Year,
Matt's MVP.
Let's
stop
it.
No, stop.
That's not your MVP? All right,
no.
Your team MVP? Or are you talking about league MVP? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
What?
Did you say his? You mean his team MVP or his league MVP?
Matt, what did you think of
what?
Wait, what?
What this deflection? What is that?
I think he missaid something.
I don't know. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't know what you want me to say.
I
told Brian that I'm not going to go into too much of it because it's only one win, big win it is, and by next week, we might not even be in the playoffs anymore. But I have optimism. I'm just going to let it play out. We won one battle. We still got a whole war.
You're so
That's
corny.
pretty
But
much
you're going
it.
home.
Man, I'm so corny, whatever. You're going to be like, because you're white or some shit.
I was just going to say that.
I cursed too, and I should have cursed.
Now we have 2 edits to do in this podcast.
No edits, man. Just take note.
No one's going to
Follow me on Twitter.
Take note. Like
take note.
Oh, Matt goes crazy on Twitter, man.
I go crazy.
Well, it's Utah Jazz and it's wrestling pay-per-views. That's what Matt and Mets games.
That's the only time he's gonna see me on Twitter.
God.
Other than that, I don't care about anyone's life. I
will say this. Part of me was not shocked at all that Oklahoma City played the way they did. The big three that they
shot
had.
hard.
I mean, all I heard was 0-14 in the fourth quarter.
I watched some of that.
Or was it 0-12?
I wasn't too surprised because I was like, I don't.
They've had their struggles.
Did you say 2 points? Okay.
Huh?
No.
No. They did not make a shot
from
the field in that quarter. And
but the Jazz defense is damn good.
And I also wasn't surprised because I was just like, I don't think that highly of Oklahoma City. I never did.
Yeah.
I think
once they started playing, I thought when they first made those moves, I was like, you know what? I didn't think. No, I remember when we were talking about this before the season. I was like, there's only one ball to go around, so I don't know if this is gonna work. And I didn't like the bench that they had.
I think it can work. It's gonna take time, and they need to fortify their bench.
Well, they don't really have time because it's like
not this year.
Yeah. Well, the team is gonna be. They're gonna have a different. They might have a different look next year.
They might.
Melo, I don't know if he's gonna still be there. Russell Westbrook just re-signed, and Paul George is maybe go to LA. I don't know.
I think Paul George is coming back. I don't know. Who knows? We don't know.
Why what's the fascination? I get it, LA, but what's really the fascination with being with the Lakers? It's like the same thing I question about, like, what's the fascination of being with the Knicks? Like, I don't.
Well, the Knicks and the Lakers, that's not even the same thing.
It's pretty much legacy.
The Knicks have.
I don't think people.
Lakers have legacy.
Yeah. I don't think people because people.
The Knicks have a legacy of losing.
People who are Knicks fans and Lakers fans will always use that. Lakers fans especially, and I think people our generation, which a lot of these athletes are cut from the same.
They don't care about that.
Don't really care about that stuff.
No,
it's like,
they don't.
How much are you paying me? You know what I mean?
How much are you paying me, and do I have an opportunity to win?
And
That's what it comes down to.
not even opportunity to win, opportunity to start in some cases, because you might want to be Harrison Barnes and be like, "Yo,
I think it
I'm
does.
leaving
I
Golden
think it
State."
matters to some people. I just don't think it matters to the majority of athletes. That I agree with you, and I definitely don't think if you're a Knicks fan, you could say, if you're just like, "Oh, we could sell you as a guard." Yeah, New York City people. A lot of people love to live.
People will
in New York
always
City.
want to play there, but I
want to
think
play in LA,
people
but they
will
want to
always
win too.
But I also think that aspect of it is overrated.
I
don't know.
do. I agree with that.
I don't know how
I
we
think
got
it's
here.
I think it's
but
overrated.
I say all that to say, like, yo, I still think Oklahoma City's going to win the series, but they're going to get steamrolled in the next round. But I hope, for your sake, that your Utah Jazz win, because I would like to see
So do I. I'm just enjoying it, man. Like
I just don't know if I want to see them play Houston.
I don't.
Quinn Snyder for Coach of the Year. That's
all I gotta
thing
say.
I
And what about Gobert for Defensive Player?
I also have him for Defensive Player of the
That's
Year.
dope.
Kenny Atkinson for Coach of the Year.
Stop it. All right, moving on.
Check out that feature I did on him, by the way, on netsdaily.com.
We have a netsdaily.com. That's his plug. We have a new thing we're going to be doing here on the podcast. We're going to have fans send in video, audio to us of a topic that they want to talk about, maybe something that happened in the week, something they did on Twitter.
Anything you want.
Anything you want. It could be about little anything, something that grinds
I'm
your
a
gears,
little scared
something
about.
you like.
I'm a little scared about anything you want. No nudes, please.
Yeah,
we
said this video. Well, yeah, there could be people going. Man, I ain't even trying to think about all that. Please, we didn't come here for that, and we will not put that on. But
we'll block you and report you.
If we like it, we will put it on. You can send it to our podcast email, which is on our Twitter. AHTTpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can send that there, and we like it. We'll put it on. But our first one,
we'll block you or report you. I'm serious. Or if you're hot, we'll just send it to Lewis.
That's what I was gonna say. You stole my thunder,
because Lewis will be here for that.
He will take them.
The first video audio submission we have is from a former guest of this podcast. Her name is Princess Streeter of the W Podcast, and she had this to say about something she wants to see happen on Instagram.
What's up, y'all? It's Princess here from the W Podcast. And a couple days ago, I sent out a tweet saying that I believe Instagram should have a mute feature. And for some reason, I got all this backlash. So I'm here to tell you why I believe Instagram should let us mute our followers' posts. Okay, so in this day and age of social media, people get really finicky and funny acting about getting unfollowed. They're like, oh, do we have beef? Is there something we need to talk about? And I don't really feel like going through all that. So in the cases of like my family, my classmates, even some of my homeboys and homegirls, I just get annoyed by their posts. So I just want to not necessarily unfollow, but just not see the post. So in that case, I believe we should have a mute feature just like Twitter. They don't have to be notified. It's just for my own personal curation of my timeline. I don't see a problem about it. I don't know why I got all this backlash, but I had to come explain myself. So here I am.
Yeah, Princess, definitely agree with that. Like, look, I get tired. I think people sometimes are doing too much on Instagram. Definitely too much. Some stuff that I don't want to see. So why can't I have it like Facebook where you can hide some people, or on Twitter where you can mute some people? I know you are a fan of the mute or the muting.
I have a lot of people muted on Twitter. I just don't want to see.
So, like, I feel, Princess, I don't know why people are clapping back. Like, why are people coming at her? I actually saw this tweet when she said it, and I was like, yo.
I'm actually surprised with that. Like, I thought more people would agree and have our reaction. Like, I thought more people would agree, like, hey, Instagram should have a mute feed. It's just common sense. And you know what's funny? I remember texting you back when you told me this the other day. I was like, Instagram, if you really boil it down, it's not that good of an app compared to, like, some of these other ones. Twitter is way better than Instagram, I feel like. Way better.
But I think Instagram actually might be the more popular app.
Well, yeah, because you know why? It's because we're stupid. And what I mean by that is I'm saying, like, us as, like, a generation, as a society, I hate that phrase so much. But we're
watch it, man.
We're stupid.
I agree. As a collective,
because people want stuff that they can easily consume, right? Instagram is pictures. What do you like reading when you're a little kid? Picture books. Picture books aren't real books. They're just pictures, like little blurbs there.
Don't say that. Don't
say that, man. Dr. Seuss is a poet.
Oh God, that's not a picture book. That has some storytelling.
Lock it in my
Even though
pocket.
Green, whatever. All right, so basically, I've hijacked everything today.
You have. Lock it in my pocket. Lock it.
But basically, like, no, but for real, we're stupid. Let me get to my point. We're stupid, and Instagram is just easy to consume because it's pictures. If you want to see some titties, that's there. If you want to see all that, like whatever. If girls want to see guys or other guys want to see guys working out, all that stuff is there. It's easy to consume. But Twitter, even though it's 140 characters, now 280. You have to read a little bit.
It's hard.
And in reading a little bit, reading is a little bit challenging for some people. Because when reading, you have to actually digest something. And when you have to actually digest something, it can be a little bit of work. Smart people don't have a problem with utilizing that.
Nope.
And that's why Instagram is easier and probably more applauded and more appreciated for people to use because overall, generally speaking, we're stupid. People like reading headlines and going off of stories based off of that. But with Instagram, it's like, oh, I can just look at a picture and dissect it. And it's very, very easy, which is why there are a lot of people who are fake photographers and fake videographers and things
Shout
like
out
that.
to those people.
They're able to flourish through Instagram. They know who they are.
Yep.
They're able
they don't.
They don't. Honestly, they don't. They don't know who they are.
Nah, they don't.
That's true. They don't know who they are.
They think they're really up there. They think they're really doing
Don't worry,
but
people.
There are people who have that, no bona fides, no accolades, no credentials, nothing. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And cool, self-starting is great. Do that.
It's great, yeah, do
But
it.
you're not a legitimate photographer or videographer.
With all that being said.
Same thing. Twitter has the same thing with journalism, by the way.
And
we ain't got to do that again.
One thing, for those people that are self-proclaimed, Brian and I will follow, and we will also analyze your follow count and digest and see if those are real followers. But that's a different story. Some people.
You're not supposed to tell them, but all right. By the way, back to
back
to Princess's point though.
Her point is that everybody who's around you sometimes that you follow, and here's the thing. I don't have a problem following people. Princess kind of alluded to that in that comment.
Me too.
That she's like, hey, you don't want to do this because sometimes you don't want to follow people. And I understand how that can cause a negative situation. I just don't give a damn. Yeah. Like, if I'm not feeling what you're saying, you post. There's people I've unfollowed on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Same.
They've been doing too much. I'll unfollow them. Now, it would be nice to have the unmute button, but I've also never had somebody message me and be like, yo, man, why'd you unfollow me? And if it did, I'd be like,
they care too much.
I've had that. You were doing. If you got to message me to be like, why you unfollow me? Because I've had people unfollow me because they didn't agree with certain politics, certain things I said about something. I told them about themselves and they didn't like it, so they felt a kind of way and they unfollowed me.
That's okay.
That's their choice. Man, trust me, there's nobody on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, that I'm going to lose sleep over because they unfollowed me. Whatever, but please follow this podcast at AHTT Podcast.
Yeah, please.
But back to it, like Princess. Yes, I agree. I think
I agree too.
Instagram should have a mute feature. I also think that maybe we just got to start on following more people.
Yo, yeah. If you don't like,
I do it.
If you don't like,
I do it all the time.
If you don't like what people are bringing to your timeline, nobody's forcing you. You don't have to look at it. Don't look at them or unfollow them.
But I also hate that Instagram is like. Remember when Instagram used to be in just order of like the time that things would come out, and now that's scrambled all over the place.
Yeah, now they do it with terms of like what on your feed is getting the most popular hits.
No, but and you're just showing me. And usually what comes up is people whose posts I normally like. But it's like you keep showing me the same people. What if I want to see posts from other people? Then I have to go look
like
for
Brian
it.
hasn't liked my pics.
I'm
joking.
But then when
you know why this is though.
When I'll post something and then I don't see it because Instagram's algorithms are weird. And then when I don't see. When I post something and then I get a like from somebody who I forget exists, and then I have to click on their page and be like, yo, I haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens all the time.
Sometimes
or when I post an Instagram story and I see some of the people that are watching it,
like they,
or that have seen it, I'm like, yo, I haven't seen this person in a while. Do you look at that? Do you look at people that watch
the algorithm's weird that I'll like a photo?
Answer my question.
And what'd you say? Do I look at?
Do you look at people that watch your Instagram stories?
All the time. I do polls all the time. So like I like to see who's trolling me or not. Anyways,
you don't even do Instagram.
But you're right, I don't. I think they're pointless.
The algorithm's funny and weird in a way. Is like I'll see it thinking it's recent and then forget they switched everything. So I'll like a photo that's like 3 days old and feel like a creep.
Oh yeah,
it happens all the time.
Why do you care about how somebody feels if you like the photo's 3 years old?
Because no, 3 days. It's 3 days. 3 days. But like it depends on a person. Like
I can do that to you and you're not gonna think.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm gonna go back and like all your old Instagram photos just to know you, just so you can now think that I'm a creep, and I don't even care if you think that I'm a creep.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
'Cause
think
who
you're a creep though.
cares? Who cares?
Have you seen the picture of Jason from Friday the 13th? And it's a meme. It's an old meme. I posted this a long time ago.
Are you
He's just standing.
Are you a meme creeper now?
He's just standing behind a bush. And you could only see his side of his face
Yes,
in a
I've seen
hockey
this,
mask. And it says how you look when you like a post from 52 weeks ago.
Yo, 52 weeks is a bit much.
That's what I'm
3
saying. It's
days.
crazy.
That's a year.
Yeah.
Kerry Champion posted
It's
that before.
like I've had people look at like an Instagram post. Like this happened like last week. Somebody liked the Instagram post that I posted. Like they liked a whole bunch of stuff. It looked like they were catching up on Instagram.
Yeah.
They liked a whole bunch of stuff I posted like maybe a couple months ago. And I was like, oh damn, they went far back. I forgot when I took that picture. But I didn't think they were creepy.
No.
Did they slide in your DMs?
No.
All right.
Hey, are you
They said
Dexter News
nothing.
12?
I don't talk to this person like that.
Oh,
They just
they're probably a fan.
Yeah, no,
they
it's
just liked
probably
it. They
fans.
just went
Probably
back.
Probably found you
and
through the
look,
podcast.
if you're gonna like the picture, cool. I'm not judging you. For
I'm supporting
how far-
that.
If you want to like a picture from a year ago, God bless.
Moral of the story
Godspeed.
is Instagram, better your app.
Yo, get a
Please-
mute button.
please-
Listen to Princess.
And fix my Instagram because I still can't upload videos and it's pissing me off.
Well, I think that's more of the fact that you don't
No.
have an iPhone. But that's all
No.
it is.
No,
No, it's not that.
And also, yes,
And-
one more time, we're stupid. That's why Instagram is more popular.
Take note.
Take note. All right, that's it. That's a wrap for episode 28
Could use
of
it
the
everywhere.
Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. We'll be back with more. We will not have an episode next week, but we will be back the following
We might have something though.
We might have something for you though,
Maybe.
but it will be. I will be celebrating my birthday week.
That's not why we're not having an episode.
What day? What's the day? What's the day?
April 26th.
Everybody mark it down and take note.
Take note. For
How many times can I fit this in?
Yeah.
Matt,
I don't know.
stop
You could probably say it for everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're doing it.
Guys, brush your teeth in the morning. Take note.
Oh
You know
my-
what? I'm gonna start using Take Note. I gotta start using.
I use
that
it all
for
the time
everything.
for our friend Jeffrey Armstrong.
Yeah, I'm never going to.
Winner,
do that.
winner. He takes a lot of nice photos, and he got a couple of press awards. Him and I
He
say
got
it all
one
the time.
for best sports action photo.
Yeah,
from the New
and
York
what I
Press
said was, I
Saw that.
retweeted it and I
Yeah.
said, everyone out there, take note.
I'm happy for him
Thank
because we
you.
both got nominated for awards, and I'm glad he got something because whew,
Yeah, Brian, you guys deserve it.
usually they don't
I like to see my brothers
they don't
succeed.
just give out awards to people
They
that
don't.
they don't know.
But
Yeah,
all right,
you know how that goes. All right, well, you guys can take note and
Take note.
follow this podcast at AHTT Podcast.
Yes.
See what I did there? I was able to use the
Ooh.
take note.
Hashtag.
That was very nice. Hashtag AHTT Podcast.
That's right.
Follow
Curtis
us.
Martin episode.
Follow us Instagram, Twitter, Facebook page. Follow us. More good content coming out soon. That's a wrap for episode 28.
Send your video clips.
Be sure to send your video clips to
Yes.
AHTTpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what topics you would like to talk about.
No swinging objects.
Anything that you think is good. I don't even want. You know what, man? Nah. On that note, good night and good luck.
good luck. Oh my god, I can't believe you said
No
that.
swinging objects.
I had to think about that.
No, I don't want to think about that.
I said I had to.
Sadly, you have to. It's just, those are 5 seconds of pause thinking that I'll never get that.
Take note.
I mean, maybe if it's from